Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. Pali Summerlin there.
Hello, hello.
I love getting together with her. I've been motivated to make some videos. And this particular one, I want to just share this idea of kind of demystifying spirituality. Pali is a consciousness coach and has quite a breadth of knowledge and breadth of experience as a spiritual being. And I know for sure, for many years, the whole idea of being awake or self-realized or where we were headed if we wanted freedom, and gosh, just it was coming from all different directions, and I knew it was real. I always knew that that was indeed where I was headed, but I didn't know what the heck it was. And I feel like maybe a little bit of demystifying this concept of who we really are. I mean, gosh, we hear that all the time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And who are we really?
Yeah.
And,
Well, the whole thing, the time that we've been in relationship, and the student teacher and the awakening coach, you've been like so available for whatever was up. So it's been a true motivation in your life. And it's also true for many, many people. I believe that it's a wave of awakening in consciousness throughout this planet right now that's clearly sorely needed. But the benefit for a person is like I think you use the term, lighten the load. You start to have a lighter sense of well-being, a sense of not so much suffering, a sense of things not being so serious and heavy upon you. Mm-hmm. So, in my way of thinking about this, waking up is the most practical thing that we can do. It has a particular intersection that has to do with who we've created ourselves to be and the adaptive behaviors. So there's work to be done there. But the minute that you begin, you're already in a different relationship with who you've been and with your world.
because you're beginning knowing that this may not be me, this thing called me, and
Right.
you're sort of unraveling
Yes.
from the beginning, whether it be a childhood wound or a pattern that you know you have, or just suffering, just
Right.
gosh, I'm always broke, maybe there's a
Right.
way out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So the metaphysics that I use and the work that I do is taken from a long time study of A Course in Miracles, and basically what that concludes that most everybody has an experience of is that this is a pretty bad dream we're caught in, and it often feels that way, and it feels as if that you don't know a way out of it, as if that's the only place to go, right? So, but what we find out is that this dream is exactly like a nighttime dream. And there's a version of you in a nighttime dream that the dream is happening to. And what I point to is that there's a version of you in this, what we think of as awake dream, and it's no more you than the one in the nighttime dream. So that's the direction that we go in to start to move around the pieces and find out where the clarity comes in of your true nature.
And that description of the nighttime dream, it is sort of mystical and abstract and maybe tough to even know what, it's and I think that what's gotten me along the path so far is sort of taking your word for it,
Right.
as we've gone along. Because I think truth, you can feel truth when it's there, and you don't have to understand it, and then doing the work to sort of unravel the childhood wound, and because that's where that person comes in, right? That's
Exactly.
where the defense against the world comes from.
Right.
I'm a person, I may already be wounded, so don't hurt me, and then
Right.
you're seeing the potential for that everywhere you go, and that's what we call life. There's always a problem. There's
Amazing.
always a concern.
Right.
This guy messed with me, and that girl I don't like anymore.
Yep.
And that becomes our world.
Right, and it's such a it's so of a piece. It's like what you're pointing to is that the way in which we project through the lens of our woundedness, and then the world shows up as if it's against us. but it's consciousness projected through our sense of who we are, put in place so early on. It's like, it would be funny if it weren't so much suffering. But the truth is that this conclusion was of a 4 or 5 year old. I'm not good enough, or I don't matter. And then that, because of the power of belief, because of the power of being made in the image of a creator being, which is what we are that, and then that belief is full on, and we're caught in the projection of I'm not good enough, or I'm not the one. So there is work to be done, but the minute that you see that, once it's seen, it's never as impacting it. You never can quite, you start to have a bit of doubt about, is this really their fault?
Right.
But not to blame yourself, but to see the bigger picture so that you can start to lighten the load.
Yeah, and loosen the strings up here.
That
and
gnarly
there, and
ball of
things start
yarn.
Yeah. And it really is how I've experienced it.
Yeah, really.
Because then, once one thing starts to go, your faith in freedom gets bigger.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
the longing for freedom is a great motivation, because being free of an error that was created in your own mind sets you free in the larger reality. And it's quite astounding. I think that the reason that people listen to me is because it happened here. And that freedom is my experience of every day. The freedom from the freedom from suffering, the freedom from believing that you're wrong or you're not good enough. All of that spaciousness opens us into our true nature as awake awareness, right?
Yep. I was going to ask you, and now I don't have a specific question around how you experience that. How...
Right. Well, I have like I often do, I have a kind of a kindergarten model of how it works. When we conclude as a 5-year-old that because somebody was late picking us up from kindergarten, that we're not important or that we don't matter, that belief it breaks our hearts and we repress it, but because of the belief in it, we project it, it shows up in our world. So what happens when that gets discarded or dispelled, or you see that it was never true, when that falls away, you're present, connected to your world. You're not, because there's no judgment of yourself between you and it. When there's a judgment of yourself, you're going to project it and you'll be judging other people. That's why there's one spiritual teacher said all judgment is self-judgment. And when that self-judgment falls away, you're free and you're in the moment and you feel the connection and the ease because the fear is gone.
And that's a good one to take your word for, the all judgment and self-judgment, because, it feels like a pretty abstract concept and a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is that.
And I
radical.
can say that I've experienced that, and I think it's absolutely accurate. Yeah, radical is a great word.
Right. Yeah, it's not what we thought it was. I used to have an idea that if you could say it, it wouldn't be it. It's like, the Tao is, if you know the Tao, it's not the Tao. That from Lao Tzu, because the reality of it is so radical and it can't be gotten or grokked by the mind. The mind created an ego person. The mind created the experience of separation and of judgment. And when we fall out of our minds and back into our hearts on our own behalf, we start to experience the true nature of aliveness and ease.
Nice. I'm trying to articulate my experience of the when there's less person, because it really is all about us. If I think that I'm upset because of the other, it really is about us. It just is, because because otherwise, what am I concerned about? If it can only affect me, it's about how can this affect me? Right. Me. Like that's all that's about. Otherwise, it's life happening, like you like to say, or it's somebody being angry, or somebody being unfair or really big bad things occurring out there. If there isn't a person that
right.
it hits up against, that must mean I'm not safe. That must mean I did it wrong.
Right.
I mean, that's where the suffering is. It's landing back onto the person.
That's right, exactly. And that person was created by that erroneous conclusion of a 5-year-old. I'm not important. And from that place, when anything happens, it's exactly like you say. It's against me. It's about me. I'm in trouble. I'm wrong. And then it's the whole game of suffering, because it keeps the mind tied up in fear.
Yeah. Wow.
Good work, yeah.
Anything else?
I think
That was the down and dirty.
that was getting right to it. Yeah, yeah. We appreciate anybody who's interested in this work.
Polly's around.
Yeah.
I don't know where we'll utilize this video, but she's on Maui. I'm on Maui. Polly does events. She's a consciousness coach. She's available by phone. I find that the phone is just as effective as being in person with her. Yeah.
So we'll be posting a contact wherever we post the video.
Sounds great.
Good work.
Okay.
All right. Thank
See
you
ya.
for viewing. Bye-bye.